Okay, so the next one is role culture. So this is completely different. Now, in a role culture organization, power comes from your title or your role in the organization. So these are highly, highly structured organizations, usually with lots and lots and lots of employees. In fact, so many employees that it's really hard to form personal relationships with everybody that you have to deal with in this organization. So what they do is they ritualize, I like this term, they ritualize the interactions. And basically there are manuals, employee manuals. And it says, you know, if you want to get this thing done, if you want to order these, or, you know, here's how we do a project. We start with this, we get these people together, it has to be signed off here, with, you know, it has to send a copy to legal, send a copy to accounting. You know, all of these things, you know, and there's forms, and there's triplicate, and there's all of this stuff. And that defines how jobs get done. So what are these kinds of organizations? Well, they're insurance companies, right? They're banks. They're automobile companies. They're, you know, these are places where the documentation of the workflow is really, really important. And it means that every kind of interaction is pretty much documented. And it means that your power is by virtue of where you are in the organization and what's your title. Your title is entitled to do certain things and to approve certain things and to deliver certain things. And you may not exceed your authority, and people are going to depend on you to exercise your authority at the appropriate time. This is a very appropriate kind of culture if you have a huge number of employees, and especially if there's some kind of employee turnover, and management needs to know that the work is going to get done. That people aren't going to be using their innovation and independence to try and dream up new ways to do the workflow. You can just put somebody into the slot. They will know what their responsibilities are, they'll know what their authority is, and bang, the work gets done. So that's a really, you know, that's a really good culture if you like well-defined jobs that are, you know, described right down to a T, and the expectations of what you need to deliver are entirely explicit. So the good thing, right, there's always good things and bad things about each of these cultures. The good thing is that there's a lot of stability and there's a lot of continuity. The bad thing, like we saw with GM, like we saw with Ford and Chrysler, is that these companies don't adapt or generate change or innovation very easily. And you can see why. There's a huge amount of inertia in a company like this. Because any change, there's a process for change, right? There's approval process, and you have to have the right people involved, and you have to research this thing and decide whether it's the right thing to do, and it's got to be signed off by the right people. You have to consider all the impacts, and then you've got to go and change all the employee manuals and make sure everybody gets re-educated as to what the new process is. So it can, while the stability is a good thing, it can also be like a sclerotic organization.